Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Hillcrest Café Online. And today I got a very interesting interview for you. On April the 9th, there was a pandemic wedding that took place. So AJ and Marlee had been planning to get married not too long ago. AJ and Marlee, they met playing ball hockey. Was it last year already? No, it's been longer than that, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
Has
And
it
it was
already
hockey.
been? Wow. Okay. So you guys met playing hockey 3 years
Yep.
ago, and love bloomed in its own natural ways, and we came across a wedding on April 9th. So what happened? Because originally your wedding was supposed to be May 23rd. I've got it written in my calendar. It's going to pop up May 23rd. You're doing a wedding, but I won't be doing a wedding then. I already did it. So what happened?
So I'm more talkative than AJ, so I'll take that away. We quickly started to realize that I can hear myself. I'm distracting myself. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, so we quickly started to realize that more things were closing, and Service New Brunswick was closing, and AJ's family is not from St. John. A lot of them live across Canada, so it meant that a lot of his family wouldn't be able to come, even if May 23rd worked out.
Right.
So I guess it came down to I had a lot of anxiety over it, and just kind of fear that maybe we wouldn't be able to get married, and then it would be a year or two before we could.
Oh, yeah.
And when it came down to it, we didn't need the big. We want the big celebration with everybody, but that's not what it's about. It's about God seeing us married. So when it came down to it, we decided that getting married in front of our family, so his parents, my parents, and my brother, was probably going to be our best option at this point, because it at least meant that we were married and could start our lives, and then we can celebrate later with everybody down the road. So
Yeah. Now I can remember there's a world pandemic going on. The world is shutting down. I checked the weather for the day. There's a storm surge coming. And, all these things are happening. And yet in the midst of it, we could still see God's hand working in different ways. How did you see God helping you through the anxiety and the stress of it all?
So the short answer is we saw him working in every aspect of the day. Our big worry was that Service New Brunswick wasn't going to open again, and we wouldn't be able to get a marriage license, which I work with a lot of pastors, and I also have Andrew in my life, which is awesome. And almost every single one of them said, we don't need a piece of paper to marry you in front of God. So, which is true. So that was an option, but we were really, really wanted to move forward with that as well. So AJ happened to read an article that was saying that they were opening, but they were only opening for appointments.
Yeah.
And they were only taking marriage license for anybody getting married between then and April 30th, which we were not within. So I had actually sent Andrew a very long email with a question about 6 different options and whether they would work if we had to do it. Like, could we do it over a video if we had to?
Yeah. Now pronounce there.
Click the enter button on your keyboard. And so we talked on the phone that night with Andrew, and just felt like a sense of peace with our decision to go with. At that point, we hadn't picked the date yet, but we were going to do April. So just the fact that I called and I sat on the phone for an hour to get an appointment for Service New Brunswick, and we got one, and then I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that nothing would change between that day and our appointment. And we really didn't tell anybody. Had that license in our hands. So just the fact that they stayed open and they didn't close, and we got to keep our appointment to get our license, everything falling in place. Like I said earlier, I'm an anxious person, and I I tend to overplan a lot,
Mm-hmm.
which was a very, very good thing in this sense. And I feel like it was God nudging me saying, it's time to do these things. It's time to do these things. But we already had our wedding bands because when we got our GST in January, we said, what are we going to spend these on? And we said, why don't we go buy a wedding band?
Yeah.
So we went and bought our wedding bands, and we didn't want to move in and get married all at the same time. So we had already gotten an apartment.
Yeah.
And AJ was moving in until our wedding, which ended up being a lot quicker.
Woohoo!
What? So
worked out good.
It just seemed like he nudged us in the right direction, even before this pandemic was a thing, that made everything line up perfectly. We already had decorations to make it look nice. My brother owns all kinds of cameras and was able to record it and edit it and all that stuff. And like I said, decorations and the apartment and the wedding rings and everything just seemed to fall into place. And it just seemed too easy for a pandemic.
Now, you chose the 9th of April, and there was a little something there for why you chose the 9th, wasn't there? If I remember correctly.
Actually didn't know this. So I was trying to avoid my birthday because I treat my birthday like it's a big deal. So I didn't, which is April 5th. So I didn't want to get married near my birthday. And my grandmother, who I was extremely close to, she was almost like a second mother to me. When my parents were at work, we were at her house all the time. Sorry. And so we were really, really close to my grandmother. Okay. And my grandfather had passed away when I was 8 years old, I think, in grade 3. So I never put 2 and 2 together because I was so young and we never celebrated their anniversary, but they actually were married on the 9th of April as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we originally chose April 9th because it was the night before Good Friday. So we figured most people didn't have to work the next day. Like our parents didn't have to work the next day. It would give them time to celebrate with us at the church and then go home, and we would have a nice long weekend together. And then I come to find out when I was talking to my cousin, she's like, that's so cute that you're getting married on Nanny and Papa's anniversary. And I was like, what?
Oh, well, wonderful way to find out, right?
Right.
That's awesome.
And we had kind of talked about doing April 25th, which is my grandmother's birthday. And I was like, no, I can't get married on Nanny's birthday. Like, that's a big deal. It's also my aunt and uncle's anniversary. I was like, no, I want to stay away from that. But it's really nice because growing up, they grew up in a very, very Christian household, both of them. They raised my mom in Douglas Avenue Christian Church.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Now the harbor. Ooh.
Yeah, now the harbor. So they were very much a role model to me when it came to love. So it just like the icing on the cake that it worked out that day.
Yeah. Now I found out, just also thinking back to the question about how we saw God working. So we're doing the rehearsal, and I'm talking to someone online about getting ready for a wedding, and they're like, did you know the government just put a ban on social gatherings and recreational gatherings? I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, I'm not telling Marlee now. I've got to figure something out. So anyways, a big mad scramble. I'm talking, and I end up talking to MLA and Dorothy Shepherd's office, and fresh off the press that morning was a new edict, no more than 10 people for gathering like a wedding. And I was like,
right.
Oh, thank goodness. Because I was like, what are we going to do? Right. So
it was like all over your face, but I didn't know what was wrong. Like you just kind of looked like you saw a ghost. And I'm like, uh-oh. But you didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, everything's okay. Maybe it's just something different. Like something happened, we found out. And
yeah, we'll handle it one way or another. Oh my goodness. So you had your wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. Not everybody, I'm sure you have a blog that's coming out soon. So I'll make sure I attach in the description the blog where they can find little details and maybe see some pictures. And if there's a link to your video, then they can see that. What was your favorite part of the wedding? I mean, besides kissing AJ, we know that's like the creme de la creme, but what was your favorite part of the wedding?
Are you good?
Yeah.
so much of it. It was just, it all came together so well, and it was so personal for such an intimate small wedding. It was wonderful. But it's hard to pick a favorite. I loved your idea, and this was your idea, so I'm going to give you the credit for this one. I just happened to mention that we had met playing church hockey, and then Andrew was like, "Oh my goodness, what if we brought in the net from the gym, and you guys brought a stick and a ball, and you took your first shot together?"
Take a shot.
Really?
Yeah, girl. Oh, she scores.
We don't know as a married couple, and I thought that was so sweet because AJ and we did meet playing hockey, and hockey is very much a big part of our relationship and our lives.
Yeah.
Like, he had some injuries and wasn't able to play for a year, so he was on the bench coaching us for church hockey.
Yeah.
He started playing ball hockey this summer and was playing his own team while helping out with my brother Nick's team, and then
cool.
also decided to come help out on my bench too. So there's just so much around that. It was great.
Made for some cute pictures, that's for sure.
It did, actually. I was kind of surprised. I was like, I'm gonna have a really awkward look on my face trying to shoot this ball.
Yeah. So I wonder, I know AJ is not there right now, he's in the room somewhere, but
Yeah.
I'm just wondering about the typical wedding. You know, there's usually cake cutting and there's frosting involved. Did he attempt anything crazy to? Oh yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about the frosting.
Are you there? Are you good? Did you want to talk about the frosting?
What? Oh,
We're talking about the.
my favorite part.
Sorry, he's just off camera for a second. He's got a little bit of heartburn, I think.
No worries.
I don't like anything on my face. Like, I don't like if I'm eating, I like to make sure that there's nothing on my face while I'm eating. And
Yeah.
so, right, we cut the cake. It was all cute and everything. You can see it in the video if you have been able to watch it. And and then out of the corner of my eye, I see this finger coming at me, and I'm like, no. But meanwhile, I'm carrying the knife in my hand.
Oh, brave man.
And I yelled out, "Don't do it, I have a knife." And I was like, oh my gosh. So, no, it was fun. And I thought that I got away, and I thought that he didn't get me. And he just kept it on his finger and got me later when I was least expecting it. He's smiling off camera, very proud of himself right now.
I bet he is. I bet he is. Yeah. So I was thinking, you guys are a really fun couple. We really, there's a lot of people that love you guys. There's a lot of people who wish they could have been at the wedding, and we had all sorts of interesting plans we thought about doing, but I think we made the right choices in how we did it. But if I'm not surprised, I will not be surprised to hear if you guys have some future celebrations in the future. Can you tell us any little sneak peek thoughts about what you're thinking of doing in the future?
Yeah. Do you want to say anything?
No.
He's not a man of very many words, so I think I talk more than enough for both of us. He actually, I kind of felt guilty because from the get-go, how the April 9th went down is how I wanted our wedding to go down. Yeah. And I kept saying that to him. I don't like being in large crowds of people looking at me. I feel pressure. So I was kind of like, let's just do it in front of our family. That'd be cool. And AJ's like, no, I want like the big wedding. So, yeah. Well, the average is what we're doing, is average size wedding. But so we're still we haven't 100% figured it out yet. But our DJ called me the other night, DJ Steve.
He's awesome.
The best. We are good friends with him. Ball hockey. I'm telling you, we like right. All of our friends are church and ball hockey people. Yeah. I've known Steve for a very long time, and AJ met him last year or 2 years ago. And we love him. He's such a wonderful person. He called my cell phone the other day and he's like, we're having a party. I don't care when it is, when this is all done. And I'm like, yes. So the details we still have to figure out, but we even might still do like a ceremony kind of thing.
Sure.
And it might, the way things are looking, it might not even be until next year, but maybe our anniversary, like our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and just kind of like a little ceremony because I didn't wear my wedding dress, and
I didn't wear my stuff.
and he didn't wear his outfit. So, and all of our guys and girls already bought their outfits and their dresses, and our sweet little flower girls, Gwen McInerney's one of them. She's so excited to be part of our wedding, so we can't let her down.
Right. Zoe's the other one, I believe.
And Zoe's the other one. So if anyone's met Zoe, her and Katrin recently started coming to the church with us, and her little brother Axel. Axel's our ring bearer.
Oh, cool.
So Axel's the ring bearer, Katrin's a bridesmaid, and Zoe is a flower girl, and then Gwen's our other flower girl.
Katrin's okay.
You love Katrin. So anyway, so we still want to very much do the big ceremony, like the ceremony and the celebration, like dinner and dancing and fun and
You're gonna
whatnot.
show off your wedding dress, girl. Come on.
I didn't spend a lot of money on it, but I spent enough money that it's going to be used. It is going to be used. So, and so I guess the hard part, like I said earlier, is with AJ's family. He has some really close family here in St. John, but there's others in Ontario and BC and Alberta. And we'd really like for them to at least somewhat, we want the possibility to be there if they can come, which at this point, even if New Brunswick were to open up at this point, they can't come. So, so that's why we're kind of thinking of a year, because by then we're hoping that everything is kind of cleared up and they can have a better chance of making it to celebrate with us. So,
I have to admit, so I had a front row seat of the wedding, and AJ, I know you don't say much, but AJ, what you said to Marlee, I almost cried, man. Like that was like sweet. Like that was like so nice. Some of the things, like you kind of started off, I don't have too much to say, but then you just started pouring out your heart. It was so genuine. I won't tell people what you said. They got to watch the video. But
can you hear it? Because I can't.
No, I guess I can't. But I was there. It was like so sweet what you said. I was just like, dang, bro.
I had texted him that day, and I was at work. I worked all day, got off in the afternoon, and then got ready. But
just wait a second. Who works on your wedding day? What?
I'm a workaholic.
Sorry, keep going.
So I worked, and I texted him, and I said, have you written out what you're going to say tonight? Because we had decided it would be nice before our vows to just write like a letter to each other, just a short one. Mine was 2 pages. His was not written out, but he said, no, I'm just going to speak from the heart. And I was like, that's brave. Like, I'm writing down what I'm saying. I get nervous and I'm going to mess it up. But he did really well. It was just so he was so quiet. You couldn't hear it. In the video, you heard it.
It was excellent, AJ. I really have to commend you on what you said. It was priceless. And now it's lost in history because it's not recorded. But I just remember it though. Yeah, it was so sincere. So as a couple, right? So there's other couples around that might be watching this. What advice would you have for other couples who are thinking about getting married in the pandemic? Would you, if you had to do it over again, would you wait? Are you glad to get married? What are you thinking?
Would you wait?
She's okay. I'm glad we did it.
Ah!
He's very sarcastic. Ignore him.
The couch is comfy, man.
I'm happy we did it.
Yeah, so I've talked to a lot of different people in my life. I know actually a lot of people getting married between now and like September, October, all on different walks. Some people are not people of faith, and some people are. And for us, it made sense. Like, we weren't living together before marriage. So it made sense for us with everything going on. It meant that if things don't clear up for a year, we have to wait a year to move in and get married. If things don't clear up for longer, it's even longer. And so I've had a lot of people actually reach out to me, and you mentioned earlier, I decided to start a blog. I didn't buy a domain name or anything like that, because I'm just doing it to kind of document it and have fun, not trying to make money or become famous. Just so many people have reached out to me and had questions about our process, and
I bet.
tips on what to do. So I thought, why not write a post every week and people can read there and have some fun. But yeah, I think that for anyone who lives a similar lifestyle, that it's not about the fluffy dress or the decorations or how many people are there. You can always record it like we did. And I know it sucks because my grandmother still hasn't gotten to see it because she doesn't own a DVD player and she doesn't have internet. And it's not allowed in her building, and she's not allowed. There's restrictions. She has breathing issues. So that's hard. Like, my grandmother still hasn't gotten to see it, but she will. That's what I keep reminding myself. Things are going to get better. We're going to be able to go out again, and we'll have her over to our apartment and have some snacks and sit down and watch it with her. So
yeah. Now, if the pandemic wasn't enough, if the storm surge wasn't enough, you were having a wedding shower, an online wedding shower, which I thought was amazing but it didn't happen on the right date either.
no.
And I can remember I texted you that day, oh, look, Marlee, it's snowing out in April. Imagine that. I was like, and I thought that was the worst it could get. And there was another turn of events that happened. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can do that. And if I get emotional, that's okay.
Right.
I'm sure most people I know have probably seen me cry. So I am an emotional person. So I mentioned my grandparents earlier. And growing up, my uncle, my mom's brother, lived with my grandparents. And my grandparents had us probably 5 out of the 7 days a week at their house. So I'm very, very, very close to my uncle.
Mm.
And he was diabetic and had some health issues. So he ended up moving in with us when I was in high school for almost a year. And my mom has spent the better part of a decade helping care for him because he only had one leg and needed help. And she hadn't heard from him on Friday, and she talked to him every day. And as I go outside to decorate, I said, Mom, go. Like, just go, get a hold of somebody, see if you can get into his apartment. He lived in the low-cost housing uptown, so there's a superintendent, and she called police and everything. And so Dad brought Mom over. So I was decorating my apartment I was decorating my car for the virtual shower, which, by the way, was amazing. If you're in the same boat we are, I was nervous because I didn't want people to think I was asking for gifts. It wasn't the point. I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, we bought you a gift, or we want to buy you a gift. How do we get you your gift? But I didn't want to open them without people seeing us open them. So a virtual shower is wonderful. And I'm going to do a blog post about it. So follow that. But so I went outside. I'm by myself. I'm decorating my trunk, and Mom was going to help me. And I literally walked outside with the decorations. It starts snowing. Andrew texts me, it's snowing. Isn't that hilarious? And about 10, 12 minutes into people showing up, my parents came back, and we had found out that my uncle had passed away on Friday, which was like the worst thing that could have happened at that time, like any time. But I spent the majority of the weekend crying, and I'm better now. He was just meant so much to me. So, but my mom, we have a house phone. I was adamant we were getting a house phone because I don't like companies having my cell phone number.
Yep.
So my mom happened to call the cell phone, or the house phone, sorry. And I was at their house because I knew more people knew where they lived and could drop it off in my trunk in their driveway than where I live, which is right next to Hillcrest, by the way.
Woo.
So my mom called the house phone, and AJ missed it. But as soon as he recognized the number, he knew where my mom was, and it just clicked. So he threw on a jacket and shoes, and before I even got a chance to call him, was out the door, running to the apartment where my parents live. So I had a very personal and heart-wrenching moment in front of a lot of people who were standing socially distancing themselves to put gifts, which was amazing, in our trunk. And actually, I think every single person who was standing there, as my mom told me, was from Hillcrest.
Oh, precious.
And none of them can hug me
No.
because of what's going on, but just them being there and talking to us through it was exactly what we needed. So,
And I can't imagine how awesome it must be to have your husband to comfort you. Do you find that? What's that like?
oh, I think he's found me in our apartment crying in like 6 different places. It's just perfect. Like, I don't think I could have gotten through this weekend if we had to socially distance ourselves.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Like, if I was still home and he was here and we couldn't be together, I think my parents would be such a wonderful help, but it's just not, it's not the same. It's very different. He's been great. And it's hard for him too, because he was close to Billy too. Like, every Christmas, Mom and AJ and Billy and I went for drives looking at Christmas lights and grocery shopping every Friday night. AJ would come occasionally, and Christmas dinners, and just my mom would make Billy supper and drop him off supper, and we'd go too, like those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Billy was the kind of person where I don't think it was possible to not like him. He was a funny guy. He made friends with anybody. He would talk to anybody. Very much like my brother, actually. Like, I see a lot of Billy and Nick.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great. It's been really great to have AJ, because the other night I was sleeping and he was playing some video games and he thought he heard me cry, so he just kind of opened the door and looked, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's a unique comfort to have your wife or husband this close in the midst of such a grieving time. Well, Marlee, as we
yeah, I felt so bad. He was like hugging me while we showed up at the house, and he was going, and I thought he was crying, but he was panting because he ran the entire way. So, and sorry to interrupt for 2 seconds, but
no, go ahead.
Another reason that I would not, this is gonna make me emotional. Another reason that I would not change the way we did it is my uncle was so excited to get our wedding invitation, and he at least found out before, so he knows.
That's awesome. My goodness. So is there anything that you guys would like to add? AJ, I know you're the strong silent type, and we're not putting any pressure on you to say anything, but is there anything that the two of you would like to add or mention or bring up? We'll start with AJ. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, the wedding was an amazing time, and I'm
Nice
happy.
and loud.
You can hear me.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
The wedding was a nice time, and I'm glad if everybody had helped and was able to participate and willing to have their hand in it, and it just meant a lot to us that everything was able to go smoothly, and definitely wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Oh, what was your favorite part, AJ?
Yeah, what was your favorite
Oh,
part?
putting the icing on her.
Oh.
Good answer.
My. Yeah, for me, I guess everything, like I said earlier, just kind of fell into place, and everyone was so willing to be helpful. My poor brother wore like 5 or 6 different hats that night.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for him. Like,
he only did it for me.
Yeah, AJ and Nick are good friends, and that's how I met AJ, because Nick brought him to hockey. So,
good job, Nick. Sorry.
Nick just about shoved him at me and was like, "Here, date this boy. He's nice." But no, he was wonderful. Like I said before, he owns a lot of different recording equipment, like cameras, and he has a drone, which we did try, but it was too loud, and different cameras. Anyway, he tripods, and he recorded the entire ceremony while being a part of it, while also holding a phone in his pocket that had all the music that we were using hooked up to a speaker that he had to like press at certain times, and like he was just so willing to do all that. If you get a chance to watch the video, and I hope that you guys can, it's only half an hour, and it was really, really, really awesome. But
I watched it. It was good.
He at one point, he was the person who signed for AJ on the license, and at one point you can see him go, "Oh crap," and turn the tripod and run. He made sure it had a nice angle and then ran, and then stood there, and then realized he had to click the button to play music because he had music to play while we were signing. So he did so much, and we're just so thankful. And our parents, they did so much. Even just, we didn't think that anyone was going to think that this was a good idea. And I actually cried and had anxiety over telling anybody, which we kept a secret aside from very close family and our wedding parties. We really didn't tell too many people outside of that. And so I was just so anxious because I tend to be a people pleaser, and I wanted to make sure that everyone was happy with it. But like his mom, we called her, and she's like, "I think that is the best idea I've heard in a very long time. Like, go for it." And my parents were the same. Like, they all just, and it worked out. Like the numbers, it couldn't have been more perfect. You had to keep it like under 10, and we had 9. And Rob helped out from River Cross, which was so nice for both of my church worlds to be involved. So with my parents, his parents, us, my brother, and then the 2 pastors, we managed to keep it under 9. That meant that some people ran and did a few different things, but like it was amazing.
So here's just something fun to do for a second. Someday you guys are gonna have kids, and they'll be watching this. If you could say anything to your future kids about your wedding day, what would you tell them?
We're not lying. It really was a pandemic.
It really was. The world is shut down.
I feel like our pandemic story is going to be like our grandparents and parents. Like, I walked to school and snow up to our heads. And I feel like kids are going to think we're lying. But what would you say?
I don't even know right now. Probably they try to come up with an excuse or something. Be like, I don't want to hear any excuses from you. You want to marrying your mother? You're going through a pandemic.
I had no choice. She's the last woman on the world. It was for the human race. No, just
honestly, though, I hope that they look back and they're able to watch our video and realize that how much we do love each other, and that it came down to us and getting married and our love as opposed to all of the frills. So I hope that they take it of that we really love each other, and that when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter what you have or how much you put into something like that. It's all about the love.
Now, your brother is big on preparing for the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
And I often think, he assesses people wondering, who would I take into a worldwide pandemic? And I think of myself, when you guys were thinking about getting married, you literally chose a partner for the worst case scenario. Like, what a wonderful vote of confidence, sign of trust that you say, in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, I choose you. I think that's a beautiful statement to make. Whether it was the right choice or not, no, I'm just kidding.
My brother does not choose me as his zombie apocalypse team, so I'm a little insulted. But
yeah, I'm on the team.
I choose AJ, so it's okay.
Well, I'm on Nick.
Oh.
Yeah, I was told I made the team, so I'm like, yes.
I only made the team because I can take care of horses. So he's decided I'm useful.
That's good. Well, as we come to a close of our little interview, I'm just wondering if you'd mind praying for other couples that are going through this. It's just a prayer for marriages in general, I guess, but especially in this season and time for people who are feeling really stressed out about wondering what's the future. Because I mean, New Brunswick's looking better than the rest of Canada right now, except for maybe PEI. So there's lots of people that are going to be really affected by all this. So I don't know if you mind having a word of prayer for people.
Before I pray, I just want to say, like, if there's anybody who's going through what we are with their wedding planning, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I didn't have anybody to kind of go to look towards. I'm part of a Facebook group of brides who are going through the same thing, but I didn't have anybody personally that I knew that was going through this. So I can answer as many questions as possible. I might not have all the answers, but even just to give you a peace of mind, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you don't know how to get a hold of me, Andrew knows how to get a hold of me. So
that's right. Yeah. And you're a professional administrative assistant, which we celebrate on the 22nd.
Oh, that's great.
You're like super well organized. You have a handle on things really well. So you are a good person to get in touch with. I know even my own daughter, who's getting married this summer, has already been in touch with you for several things. So you come highly recommended. And AJ, he's just cute. So, it's part of the package deal now.
He can point you in the direction of me.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, sure. Would you mind praying?
Yeah, no.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. God, thank you so much for all of the joy and happiness that we can look for even in these darker times. I pray, God, for people who are in situations like AJ and I, who are unsure, be it a wedding or even a baby coming on the way for the first time. If you're in that position, it can be scary. I pray that you give these people peace and give them all the answers, God. I know it's so hard to give up your dream wedding and to change your plans, God, but if it is what's right for somebody, please guide them in that direction and help them out. And know that they have friends, family, and church family who are going to support them amazingly no matter what, God. I just pray for peace for them and the answers and peace for everybody else too, God, for somebody who's maybe alone in an apartment right now, God. I hope that they have people they can reach out to and that you make it a little bit easier on some people, God. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you guys so much for meeting me
you.
here tonight and having some coffee, and we'll be posting this here pretty soon, in the next couple Thursdays. So just thanking you for, in the middle of all this stuff, just taking time to share with other people and letting us know how you're feeling and how God helped you through all these times. So we just pray God's blessings on your marriage and as you go forward. And we look forward to seeing you sometime in the near future. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in today to Hillcrest Online Cafe. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock is a Bible study posted. Every Thursday at 2 o'clock. One of these interviews are posted. Friday at 7 o'clock live. We have our Facebook prayer event, and 10:30 Sunday mornings we post our online service. So looking forward to connecting with you, and Lord bless you and cause his face to shine upon you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.